welcome back to Sosewalexa. So today we're making a slip skirt. For this project, I'm using a 4-way stretched satin. So I'm in between sizes for this pattern. So the waist for this pattern for me will be an extra large. And then like the hip area will be a 4XL. So in this video, I'll show you how I adjust the pattern so it can fit my body. Here I'm measuring from my waistline to the widest part of my hip. My waistline to hip measurements is 14 inches. According to the pattern, my waist is an extra large and my hips are at a 4XL. So the goal is to adjust this pattern to fit both my waist and hips comfortably. Here I'm marking the extra large line from my waist. From the waistline, I'm going to measure 14 inches down, overlapping the other lines to reach the 4XL line, which will be my hip measurement. And that's it. Pretty simple. Now it's time to cut out your pattern pieces. Skirt needs to be cut out on the bias for it to flow and drape. The bias is the diagonal line across the fabric that runs a 45-degree angle to the selvage. Want to cut out 2 of the skirt pieces for the front and back. Cut out 2 pieces for the waistband. Then cut out 2 pieces of the interfacing for the waistband. Check the description for the interfacing link that I purchased from Amazon. Next, iron the interfacing onto the wrong side of the fabric. Right sides facing each other, sew the short edges of the waistband pieces together. Trim the excess seam allowance. With right sides together, pin the side seam together and sew. I used a zigzag stitch and a 5/8 seam allowance. The instructions teach you how to do a French seam. I found that the French seam weighed down the drape, so I just did a regular zigzag stitch, but it's completely up to you on how you want to finish the seam. Cut off the excess seam allowance. Now it's time to attach the zipper to the other side seam. You can of course buy a matching zipper that is already 10 inches long, but I did not have that and I wanted to use what I already had. So I measured 10 inches on my zipper and marked with a washable marker. And then I sewed that marking with the basting stitch a few times. And I wanted to make it thick enough that it acts as a new stop for the zipper. Now let's attach the invisible zipper. With the fabric laid right side up, place your zipper along the edge so the teeth curl toward you. The zipper pull should be facing down, away from you. The top of the zipper should be aligned to the top of your garment. This part is optional, but use a basting stitch length to secure the zipper to the fabric to help with the next step. Repeat those steps for the other side of the zipper. You can use an invisible zipper foot for this step. I just use a regular zipper foot for all of my zippers, invisible or regular. But you want to sew your zipper to your fabric, unrolling the zipper teeth, or what I like to call the lip of the zipper. But you want to unroll that back to get your seam as close as you can to the teeth. Sew as far as you can toward the end of the zipper. I'm so sorry for the blurriness. I'll do better next time. I used to be so afraid of zippers, especially invisible zippers. Like, I was definitely intimidated by them. I wouldn't do a project if it had a zipper. And I remember saying to my mom one time, like, I am so afraid of zippers. And she said something that was so affirming and so simple that it just whispers like in the back of my mind every single time I'm about to approach a zipper and I feel like that moment of like insecurity. But all she said was, girl, a zipper ain't nothing, that's easy. Something that simple just makes me think, like every time I approach a zipper, I'm just like, I think about my mom saying, girl, a zipper ain't nothing, that's easy. So it helps me get through that experience of feeling intimidated by just the smallest thing in a huge project. Now we have a beautiful invisible zipper. Now it's time to close up the remainder of that side seam. I started pinning up from the hem. You want to stop pinning just right above the end point of that zipper. Now it's time to sew. Trim the excess seam allowance. Now it's time to attach the waistband. I finished the wider side of the waistband using a zigzag stitch. This step is completely optional. With right sides together, you want to match the facing seam to the skirt seam side that does not have the zipper. Pin that in place. You want to unzip the zipper and align the facing to the garment. and pin. So the short side of the facing, you want to align that to the zipper tape and pin that, and then sew and repeat that for the facing for the other side of the zipper as well. Now sew the facing to the skirt. Be sure to sew above the zipper stop near the top of the tape. Trim the facing and clip the corners at the top of the zipper to remove any bulk. Turn the facing out so that the right side is visible. Next, we want to edge stitch along the facing, being sure to press the seam allowance toward the facing so the stitching catches the facing and the seam allowance. This will help ensure that your facing rests easily on the inside of your skirt and does not pop out when you're wearing it. You want to start the edge stitch about 1.5 inches to 2 inches from the zipper. I used a basting stitch length for this.
Oh my gosh, like look at these beautiful stitches. How could you not love sewing? You know what I mean? Like you're doing a project, like it might have like a tough moment, but like when you see like the results of your hard work and your focus and just your interest and your creative spirit, like look at these stitches. I'm just so proud.
Now I'm just pressing the top of the skirt and pressing that facing seam down.
And here's just another moment for me to admire my zipper work.
Now our last step, it's time to hem. Let me just share that I used to dread hemming. It was just, every time I had to hem, I was not looking forward to it, but I've just started a new method and it's made my hemming experience 10 times better. So I start by folding the hem about 1/2 inch down and I pin that and I'll pin it all around. Next, I sew as close as possible to the edge all around that hem. Then I cut off the excess fabric, getting as close to that stitch as possible. Next, I fold that edge down so the raw edge is not exposed. I pin that and then I sew.
I cannot say enough, this skirt just made me feel like a goddess when I had it on. It just flowed so effortlessly and I just felt like I flowed through life when I was in it, and I absolutely love it. And I hope you guys had fun making it, and thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, show some love in the comments and share with your sewing friends. You know, we're a little community here and we're building, and let's keep sharing the sewing love, okay? Until next time, peace.